Welcome to
Uh,
the Masters 8 podcast, everybody. It's me, Samurai, your host as always, and today I'm here with.
what's up, guys? Salami.
Mr. Cool Guy here, Dino.
I am Sam.
And our special guest who was on once before and is now on again today.
Hello, Blitz here.
Alright, today we're talking about episode 86. It's episode 86, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
Episode 86, it's the Ash versus B part 2. Uh, the general opinion on this episode has been an eh. So, we're going to give our thoughts on it, thoughts on the preview,
Yeah.
and, just say what we think, and hopefully I don't rant this episode. So, usually Dino, you start us off. So,
Okay.
Okay, so I will start with the episode. Well, to be honest, I haven't been on Twitter for 2 days, so I don't know if my opinion now is controversial, but I would say the episode was pretty boring. Yeah, um, to see Mega Lucario and G-Max Machamp was cool and all, but most of the battles or encounters were just pretty boring. Surfetch comes out and I think, yeah, we're gonna get some Surfetch moment. No, he gets one-shotted. And then the next battle, Pikachu does something interesting. That was a good part of the episode. But then Holucha just get one-shotted, and Pikachu just get one-shotted. Grappler just get one-shotted. Well, that didn't bother me because Ash specifically said that he wanted to do one-shot Grappler. But except Lucario and Machamp, everyone was just one-shotted. But I just don't understand. We have two episodes for the battle, and somehow the episode was still rushed, and the battle was still rushed, and I kind of have a problem with actions in journeys nowadays. As a whole, I have noticed that in the last few journeys battles, I don't know if they. Well, I would speculate that the animator just don't have enough budget or time since it's a weekly show. It's understandable, but still the action just feel really lackluster. Like everything is in slow motion or something. So the only enjoyment I can get out of battles is now the strategies and stuff. But kind of in this episode, the only strategy that was used was that Pikachu crazy strat, which I really liked. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, but I still loved it because you don't have to make a whole lot of sense for Ash. Yeah, overall the episode was okay. I would give it 6 out of 10 or 7, something like that.
yeah, so I'll go before Sam. Or Salami, do you want to go before me?
I could go. I don't mind.
All right.
All right. So this episode, I share a lot of the same opinions with Dino, except a couple different. It was overall just meh. It was cool. Like Mega Lucario, I've been waiting for that for as long as I can remember. Now that was awesome. And Pikachu's strategy didn't make any sense. That was cool, I guess. But the things that bothered me, I mean, I don't know. It just felt like, I don't know how to put this, but yeah, I'm not gonna say that because that's just too confusing. But I didn't really like how Lucario blocked that Gmax attack. Like that made no sense to me. I don't know if they explained on that or not, but I was just like, what the heck just happened? And I didn't really get that. And it my boy Surfetch just getting one shotted, that felt kind of wrong. I felt like he should have got something like revenge on Halucha or something. And yeah, the steel beam moment was kind of cool. I like that. But even journeys, they kind of know that the Gigantamax isn't really the best thing that they got going for them. So they kind of just put the kibosh on that after 2 seconds. And I don't know. I feel like I've been looking forward to this moment, but it was pretty anticlimactic. So yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10 maybe.
All right, time for my opinion on the episode. And me, as the guy who doesn't like journeys in this podcast, I thought the episode was eh. All right.
A little
What a
correction.
surprise.
A little
No,
correction. I think nobody in this podcast really likes journeys all that much.
Nobody.
no, but
I
I'm
am
like
like
the
the
king
only
of it.
person who was just defending journeys all the time, but I have decided to somewhat drop it like to an extent. But
I
later I
I
realized that yeah,
I
but later
I, I like journeys for Go and Koharu, not for Ash.
I mean, I said this on Twitter. I said this on Twitter to Sam. I said
yeah,
Sam watches Journeys for the writing. I watch it for the animation. So that's what saves Journeys for me. I think Journeys has great
like
animation. The
I
Yeah.
honestly need like just some Gary O content just to make a few edits here and there, and I'm fit. I like other than that, I don't really have all that motivations towards
Yeah,
journeys that much.
yeah, like every show has their pros and cons, but it, personally, if I'm watching this show for everything and everyone except the main character, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Dragon
Yeah,
Ball.
yeah,
I'm sorry, but like Ash at this point, Ash is actually overstaying his welcome. Even the Ash fans agree with this.
Hmm.
yes, I agree with this, and I mean, of
I mean,
course,
I
I
could
have been
argue
saying
with
this
him.
since Journey started that um you see that's basically the thing with how the anime is overall structured. With every season having a different theme, they have to somehow show Ash into it, and half of the time it feels natural, like till DP, but after
Yeah.
that it feels as if he is becoming a very different character. So why don't just use a new protagonist every time? But yeah, we will talk about that later. Samurai,
Yeah,
may
that
you continue your rant?
I wasn't gonna rant. I was gonna say this episode was just okay. I didn't. I legit had no strong feelings for this episode whatsoever. Like I was like, I don't hate this, but I don't love this. It's so eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Anybody
get
ever
that.
seen Broly the
Okay.
movie Second Coming? The same. It's a 5 out of 10. That's this episode. It's a 5 out of 10. That's my rating.
All right. So
Wow.
now,
All right.
like,
Do you want to go last? Is that it? Okay, so I guess it's my turn. Okay, so
yes,
so for you guys to have a general idea, the best two episodes of this so-called trilogy, quote unquote, I actually gave them an 8. To both of them for two completely different reasons. The first one was because of the details and references, not because of the story. The second one was because it had a good premise and foundation, and we get to see something that back in the day it was the norm, like everyone just interacting with each other in terms of humans and Pokemon alike. So they had 8 out of 10, both of the episodes, for two completely different reasons. This episode, this episode ruined this three-parter, and therefore now I have to give a 6.5 out of 10 for all three episodes, because this episode made me downrank the other two, and now it's between decent and good. It's not harmful in the big scheme of things, because the episodes do what they set out to do, right? Give Ash Mega Lucario and show it. In that department, they deliver. But it's how they deliver that it sucks. The Mega Stone just poofs out of the air. We see Surfetch using Brutal Swing with the shield, like just throwing it. That was cool. Pikachu using the Quick Attack to make that Lightning Veil. That was cool. Kind of makes me wish that he actually already had extreme speed. But looking cool doesn't save the narrative. Good animation doesn't prevent bad writing. And we got Lucario getting hit 13 times, and Surfetch goes out in a one-hit KO. I want everyone saying, "Oh, Surfetch should have won because of the rivalry." There was no rivalry. The only rivalry that we had was Lucario and Grapplocked. Lucario one-shots with Aura Sphere because Ash talked no jutsu to Lucario. Let's finish this in one blow. And so they did. I wanted for Surfetch to tie with Oluch, because at this point, Surfetch would, as a knight, realize that, okay, Now I'm on the same level as the guy who priorly defeated me. But that's not enough. And that's how Surfetch would, eventually try to master and learn Meteor Assault. He doesn't need to win against Alucha. He just needs to, be on the same level. Which, actually that's kind of makes me wonder why didn't he battle another Pokemon? Because, I actually wanted for Surfetch to battle Pangoro, which apparently it's the rival to Karina's Lucario. Because in the year prior we didn't know that B had a Phalanx like in the games, and then Go got a Phalanx, so the chances were fewer. But now B has a Phalanx, and I'm like, we could have seen a Spartan army against a chivalrous duck. Nah, we could have seen Galar versus Galar. Nah, we don't do that here. They with the G-Max Key Strike, the Kyodai Shingeki, they actually did a at least animation wise, but Lucario. Lucario. People like to bitch about Cameron, about how his Lucario regained the HP bar when Riolu evolved. Ash's Lucario did this 4 times. He had his HP bar, the HP bar upon being recalled, the HP bar upon Mega Evolving, and Surfetch's HP bar. This guy refused to faint. Like, Swellow was broken, Greninja was super powerful, but not to this level of bullshit. They just had Lucario do this to look cool and nothing else. And what hurts the most? Pikachu now has 2 losses on Graplocked, with no revenge, vindication, closure, or riddance. Cause B is in the past now. Mega Lucario, if they show up, it's just to, Aurasphere Arceus in the Winter Special. And nothing else. This is the end. And it's so underwhelming. Misty and Brock having their Mega Evolutions felt more interesting than this. Surfetch learning Detect in the Wikstrom episode felt more earned than Lucario getting Mega Evolution. And now Surfetch didn't even use Detect, so they mocked the Wikstrom episode for me. Again, details, references, animation, all good and done, because Lucario actually, goddamn, look, they actually do this one. That's actually interesting because you can only learn Steel Beam if you are already a champion, so that they kind of reference Ash's Alola on that one. But bruh, he force palms Bullet Punch and Aura absorbs the typing of the Bullet Punch to make Steel Beam. Like, it's okay, this is like, what the hell is this? Like, and people say that the fanfic frog is shonen. Nah, you're defending Lucario. Nah, that's a double standard. You're just big bitches. 6.5. I'm sorry.
Awesome rant, samurai level.
Yeah.
Purely spectacular.
Thank you.
Even
I
above
tried.
Samurai level.
I tried. Where do you think that he learns?
See, I didn't rant today. I wasn't the one who ranted today. Everybody owes me at least $2.
That's why he invited me for because I do his job for him.
Good job, samurai.
The answer is both yes and no.
The podcast hasn't ended yet, Samurai. Don't get.
It's
But
my
yeah,
turn.
I enjoyed I enjoyed this 3-parter. It was entertaining, but just that, it was fun at the very least.
Yep.
It was fun.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn now.
Yeah.
They really could have done this one better. First one, I will mention the good parts. I like Pikachu's strategy of using a quick attack as, I don't know, by putting his tail in the ground. And I like how Go actually mentions the Whiskies battle, because it is not something you would usually see. Then we have the moment where Surfetched uses his leak, or rather his shield, as a destructive disc, and or rather Captain America shield. So I think that moment was pretty cool. And then we finally have that one moment where Ash was like very extremely serious and saying we have to settle this in one blow. And Lucario resonates with it and uses Aura Sphere, looking all cool, and manages to defeat Grapple Locked. And then we have the final, and to me personally, the good moment of this episode where, of course, Lucario learns Steel Beam and manages to beat Machamp, settling the rivalry, and B finally refers to Ash by his real name, which I think one person at Twitter actually mentioned how by the entirety of the saga we will mention Ash as trainer of Riolu or trainer of Lucario, but at the end she will mention him as by his own name. So I thought that was pretty neat, and the animation and the soundtracks that were used were pretty good too. Um, but here comes the bad part. I honestly don't. I honestly don't like that Surfetch lost to Holucha. Like that was obviously just done so that Pikachu can at least get one win in the battle. Like, what was the point of making Surfetch train and then evolve only to just still be weak than Holucha? Like, at least he could have dealt a bit more damage. Look like he's like Holucha felt as if he had felt nothing, and then Pikachu arrives with his admittedly cool strategy, beats Holucha, but like, do we really care about Pikachu beating Flying type, which isn't really much of a deal? And then he loses to Grapple Locked again. Like this is the second time. I honestly don't know. Like it feels as if they're trying to parallel the
That
previous. Yeah, it's
that actually reminds me that I like in the end of the day, like Pikachu is just here because he battled Hypnotop that one other time. So
yeah.
like yeah, those three are here because they battled B prior. The thing with Pikachu is that as I said before, I even replied this in on Twitter too. Surfetch and Olucha should have died. I could Pikachu losing after Tapu Koko or even in this series as a whole, right? It doesn't make any sense. But Pikachu should be the captain of the team. Like if Pikachu is to take an L, he should do something extremely significant. And since Olucha and Graplock have the Limber ability, paralysis doesn't work. Then again, we never saw static since the Roxy battle 9 years ago in Unova. But Force Palm also has a chance of paralyzing the opponent, and Lucario never did that even with Machamp, so why can't Pikachu paralyze Machamp so that Lucario has greater chances?
Because
It's
having
weird.
the heat using abilities.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think yeah, I was exactly on. I completely agree with you. It was just like I don't really feel anything much significant with Pikachu beating Holucha because Holucha is of course a flying type. Yeah, no type of advantages. It doesn't matter much in the anime, but I'm still kind of like it isn't really much of big of a deal to me. And then of course Pikachu loses to Grapplock again. So the fact that Surfetched and Pikachu are basically repeating what they have done previously feels as if in their department Ash hasn't really gotten any better. Like he has stayed on the same level, and it feels only that he has only trained Lucario and then gave it a Mega to go to even better heights in order to stand a chance against B, which to me feels a bit weird. Like personally, like Kuro said, I was going to say it on Twitter that Surfetched and Holucha should have died. Make Pikachu beat Grapple Locked and then Machamp beat Pikachu. Like, okay, I get it that Lucario and Grapple Locked have a rivalry, but to me personally, that rivalry was just kind of settled in their second battle. Like they obviously tied, and it's like, of course, if Lucario is going to beat Gmax Machamp, which is stronger than Grapploct, according to B, then yeah, he has already surpassed him.
Yeah,
And so
it was surpassed, like, in the battle one he got demolished. In battle two he's on equal level, and by defeating the true ace, it proves by proxy that he's stronger.
yeah, exactly. So I think I just the moment where Lucario one hit kills Grapploct was cool, but is it worth getting Pikachu and Surfetched faint the way they did? Also, it's pretty funny that while the episode was airing, I just kept on ranting about Pikachu over and over again, and I think I misread a bit because Journey's Pikachu is just a bit. I just don't like how the anime handles Pikachu in Journeys, especially after the way he was handled in Sun Moon. It feels a lot like a downgrade, but that's a topic for another day. Now for the Lucario segment, I okay. So, one of my other mutuals said this on Twitter. I don't really have a problem with Pokemon tanking multiple hits. Like, of course, I love how Charizard tanked Blastoise's Hydro Pump and Articuno's Water Pulse and everything. So that was fine with me, but the issue comes with the fact that Surfetched, Pikachu, Grapploct, and I forgot the name of the last one. What was it? Um, Anyways, it was, they all went down in one hit. Oh yeah, the last one was Holucha. They all went down like pretty easily, and then you have a Machamp who has like not taken much damage, so it makes sense that takes much later on. Like Machamp took a decent amount of hits, not much as Lucario. Lucario takes hits from Machamp continuously thanks to that bullet punches, and then he gets cross chop right into the face, and then he get mega evolves, and then he has somehow manages to survive that Gmax G strike. I think that's the name, which doesn't make any sense. Like, how did he do it? Like, at least make it so that he sort of attempted to dodge. Yes, I know that Gmax move cannot miss, but this is the anime. The anime can make even Z moves miss, if you remember correctly. Um, so yeah, that was pretty weird to me. Like, yeah, it was cool, but it didn't really make much sense, which is basically Pokemon Journeys in a nutshell. Now that I think about it, um, finally we have the moment where uh, Machamp gets that attack boost from his moves and just is about to beat Lucario. I guess he has no guard or something. Um, then Lucario somehow uses that Force Palm.
And it's not no guard. In the games she, yeah, because it's a she. Machamp is a girl.
Oh yeah,
In the game she has guts. The thing is, after using Gmax Key Strike, you get a boost in critical hit ratio and a boost
oh,
in attack stat because it's basically a free focus energy. So that's
okay. I
why
thought,
they can see
okay,
the the vital points.
yeah, that makes sense because
It's basically Pokemon Machamp without the red synergy. You
yeah,
saw
I've
that
seen
only in the
your tweet of
fists.
that. Yes, I've seen that tweet of yours. Yes, I got a bit wrong there because I thought Gmax G Strike was. I knew that it also increased your attack. I was not sure about the critical hit ratio. Um, yeah, so it uses Bullet Punch, which I think, other than that cross chop and Gmax G Strike, I can excuse most of other Lucario's moves because, like, I don't know how. I think Bullet Punch is pretty resisted by Lucario, I guess. And since Machamp is neither a steel type, nor does he has he probably doesn't have technician, so it probably doesn't deals much damage. So I can ignore that. That Gmax G strike was stupid. But then Lucario uses Steel Beam, And since Steel Beam probably takes the 50% of your maximum HP, Lucario should have probably fainted, but I guess this is anime's logic, so he survived. Like Kuro mentioned, the way he got that Steel Beam attack was pretty cool with that move tutor reference. So that was cool, but I just don't like a few things here and there in this episode. But overall, it was like I can excuse it to an extent too. So this episode gets the rating of 7 or like 6. I think it's 7. 7 out of 10. So overall, this arc gets the rating of 7 out of 10 for me.
Oh well, now we can cover the preview.
Finally.
So, who wants to go first? So usually, Dino, do you want to go first on the preview?
Okay, so the episode preview for the next episode.
Yeah, not the trailer
Mhm.
for you know what.
Okay. So, well, I don't have much to say about the preview. The only thing I can say, the design of the new character of the day looks interesting, and she is kind of like she is a kid from a rich family, I think. But yeah, to be honest, I'm not excited for the episode at all. Like the last time we focused on the evolution, it felt like, yeah, we had to showcase an evolution, so we'll just write an episode with a plot that isn't exciting at all, and yeah, we will just have some random episode to fill the development. I hope this episode proves that this episode can be better, but yeah, I'm just not excited for it.
I mean, then again, this episode was written before it was animated, so it kind of were for. So they probably have all the EV episodes written already.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I can go next. Same thoughts as Dino. Honestly, it's in the Koharu episode, which means it's boring. I'm sorry, but literally almost all of Koharu's episodes are boring. She only had 2 episodes that I enjoyed, but a vast majority of her episodes are boring. Like nothing happens.
I pretty much have the same exact opinions as everyone here. Koharu episode, whatever, boring, a little bit of development. Eevee, do you want to evolve? No, thank you. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say.
The thing with Koharu is that Eevee needs to meet all of the evolutions eventually, right? For Koharu to embrace and accept more of the Pokemon world. The problem is they are holding Eevee back, and it feels like Koharu is rejecting more of the Pokemon world like Eevee is. Hey Eevee, let's meet the evolution of the day. You want to become them? No, I'm fine. Please and thank you. Carry on. So, why? It feels like Koharu was, embracing and accepting more of the Pokemon world with Yamper. Poor dog got shafted. Then again, so does the entirety of Galar for Kanto's sake. Eevee is the epitome of pandering at this point. Um, and
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, and it feels like why are they holding back until we see Gigantamax? We know that Gigantamax is a thing. Then again, it's not like Koharu will use it in battle because she's not a battler like Ash. So why couldn't you make Koharu like same goes with Pikachu. Like for example, we already saw Gigantamax Pikachu. You did your promotion to sell the toys. Carry on. We don't need to see Gigantamax Pikachu again because it doesn't fit Pikachu's battle style. We saw that. It doesn't fit Pikachu's battle style. So, realistically speaking, Koharu should have won the Bake Off of Opal, and that way, we could have seen G-Max Eevee instead of Bloat Max Pikachu. For the episode itself, and we don't see a conclusion for that battle, it just feels like, oh, Ash is going to battle Opal. We don't see Beat, we don't see Sonia. the PWC logo is in the background, but it's not a PWC battle, so that episode felt very even though doing the swirls with all creamy, it was like in the wrong rotation. Um, and we are already at the 4th of 8 evolutions, so Koharu's will most likely become a Gen 9 evolution, or something in Hisui for all that we know. And this girl, it's basically Ojo-sama, like a very rich girl of the bourgeoisie, right? We see Go going to school. Ash has an announcement to make, but it's going to be something very underwhelming and lackluster. That girl feels like a fake Lily, because Lily in the game she also has some ice types too. But this girl, it feels like Lily, but except not. And we have the Glaceon, and right? Again, like I'm just happy that Koharu has screen time, but at this expense, it feels. Same goes with the winter special. She's just there because something happened with Dawn, so it feels like she doesn't go organically. She goes because the plot demanded her so. She doesn't go out of her own volition. And I remember people saying, "Oh, Go should not be helped by Drake. Drake should be the PWC. He's an Elite Four member. He should not get help of Elite Four members because he's not a battler." Excuse me? Wingstrom helped the guy. How do you think he got Caesar? Just for that, I actually want for Flint to help Koharu because Flint has a Flareon. At least in Platinum. And Koharu is helping Cynthia doing research. So what's like I don't understand why people are so upset that people league affiliated have their lives and interests outside. Like even Go helped Cynthia with the unknown shit. So I don't know why people are mad. Anyways, um, but if anything, I'm just more curious to see the preview for the next week. I'm more curious to see the preview with Drake, or if we see actually Drake in the Journey's art style. Kingdra will most likely have a sniper battle against Inteleon. The Reggie Rock, maybe it's like in the beginning or in the end, just a snippet, and it's not like the actual plot because Journeys likes to bamboozle us a lot.
Cough,
Uh,
Reggie.
yeah. So exactly. It's going to be the Reggie Ice effect. It's not going to be tied with the episode. It's just let's see what the other two are doing in the time being. But then nothing against Koharu and nothing against her character or Eevee, but it feels like what? Why are you holding up the girl back? If you actually had more focus on Yamper, we could have seen more of her. I will say this: I continue to believe that due to the merchandise, there is a 1% chance that the Koharu of the other universe has a Bolt Hunt. Because remember the Haruhi episode, one with the Espeon and Umbreon,
Yeah.
and how Haruhi is basically a version of Koharu that we should have got. Watch how those other four-dimensional doppelgangers are going to be going to be variants of the characters that we should have got. Like for example, that other Dawn, she's going to have Lopunny, Ambipom, and Typhlosion. Calling it right now.
If they really want to show off Typhlosion, what they could do, and is the anime has done this before, to bring up like ratings in the anime because the ratings are low, they might actually debut the Hisuian forms of the starters.
I don't know, maybe. Can you imagine if that because people are saying, "Oh, it's Infernape," in before that's the Infernape of the other Ash, in before the other Ash has a Floatzel or
I
a
want the other Ash.
Garchomp or a Garchomp.
I want the other Ash to have like a Blastoise to just basically show that
Mm.
because when you see that scene there where he and Ash meet, he
Yeah,
doesn't have a Pikachu
he
with
doesn't
him.
have a Pikachu. Yeah,
Yeah, and like
yeah.
for some reason, so
Watch him
I
at
You,
think
you
Pokemon.
know you know one thing, like realistically, because like we see the Arceus rings on the Algan Palkia, so maybe that's something just for BDSP that we do not know of yet.
okay. So where were we? Oh yeah, the EV episode, or like the Glaceon episode. I'm like, I mainly care about what Ash has an announcement to make. I doubt that it is going to be anything related to PVC, but I mean, he is here for something. So even if it's stupid, I'm basically watching this show for Ash to an extent. I won't watch it if he wasn't my favorite character.
Wow, so you're
So
watching this show for nothing.
that was right. That's right, kind of. This entire plot line with the EVs and like the evolutions kind of is kind of for the first for Vaporeon. Instead of going to this random guy with who has a surfboard or something, they go. She goes to Alola alongside Ash and Go for that race, and there she meets Lana, who has finally gotten herself a Vaporeon, and then they all participate into that race for let's say the for Flareon and Jolteon. They go meet Flint and Volkner. Like basically, they don't even need to do much.
Yeah.
Just make it so that Ash is battling.
Honestly, that reminds me of something. She got the water stone from Kikuna's friend. That it's actually voiced by the guy that voices Jaden Yuki in Japanese GX.
Oh, Jaden.
Yeah.
Stop! Don't get him started.
So why is Chloe collecting stones like if they were badges? If those stones are not evolving the Pokemon, or if they are not even going to unlock partner moves, right? It, I mean, it feels stupid. It just it just feels stupid. I'm sorry. Like, what's the point of even collecting the stones?
Fair,
Okay,
fair,
so
fair.
yeah, where was I? I actually forgot. Anyways, I was about talking about the episode. Yeah. So basically just make it so that she goes to Alola to meet Lana and her Vaporeon, which is of course the evolved Sandy. Then while she doesn't even have to um go that much away, and just goes to see Ash's battle against Volkner, like for some sort of excuse that today I am free or something. So let's go away. And so they go to Sinnoh, where Ash is just battling Volkner, while Flint is in the stadium eating popcorn or something, with the Flareon and Jolteon basically just being shown in the episode. Flint just making a small reference to how they were as a EV and how they evolved due to those two different stones. And then for Umbreon, I'm actually pretty mad that they didn't make her. That was the obvious decision of making her meet Gary. That was just the most stupid thing I have seen. That you literally have a character who has a very iconic Umbreon, and you don't use that cat who is already being used for helping one character. Why just don't use him again? Like that would have also worked pretty well, because when you think about it, Chloe and Gary both have sort of researchers background. Like Gary is basically the grandson of Professor Oak, while Chloe is basically the daughter. And both like Gary has his Gary had originally been a battler, then became a researcher, and then researching different fields. So I think it could have been a nice episode if they simply did that, instead of course, making her go to Johto for some reason. And then, of course, like make make Zoe and uh, I won't say the name. Okay, anyways,
You're
yeah,
asking too much of Gary Zombreon. If he never battled Pikachu in the Johto League, and people are
listen,
saying, and people were saying, oh, but Hawlucha and Surfetch were rivals. You want to talk unfinished battles? Pikachu never revenged Umbreon. Heck, he never battled
listen. Okay,
Blastoise. You want to trash talk the anime? This is why I will continue to say this. People online are just hypocrites. They are hypocrites because back in the day they couldn't be online because what? It was 20 years ago. There were no online, like if there were online forums, people didn't care. Like People like to bash on, the show nowadays and always make wars about Kalos and Alola and X and Y versus Sun and Moon.
Well, okay, can I jump in for a second?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, first can I just introduce you? Special guest everybody, Tyrone.
So I'm guessing just based off of what I just heard, the topic at this point is development for a Pokemon via screen time or just attention, just in general. Is that correct?
We were actually reviewing the preview, but we
Yeah.
side conversations.
Oh,
But
but
yeah,
it turned into that. Okay.
yeah, yes,
So we're at the preview already then?
yeah, pretty
And
much.
yeah, and which one are we talking about? The Glaceon preview or the winter preview?
The Glaceon preview. We were about to cover the winter preview next.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, just to sort of put my 2 cents in the Halucha thing or just the character development in general, because I know this has been a topic of conversation for a lot. I see this on Twitter where if you make any, because I made like a slight jabbed joke one time on Twitter about you should see what this team has done on screen because I sure haven't, and I don't know how much attention that bartered or whatever. But a lot of people came back at it with either laughing, liking it, or having like backlash comments about it. Where they're like, I seen plenty of development, or sometimes people literally say, I seen more development from these Pokemon than other series. And I think at this point it's become one of two things. One, it becomes when they stop to look at it, they put more development on the Pokemon than what the show gave us. Or two, an opinion has been made and now it's time to fight it. Even if it's wrong, or even if the opinion is right and I'm coming at you with a wrong opinion to counter your opinion, then at that point it's just a competition of who's right and who's wrong. It no longer becomes a competition of facts or using the source material as your source. Because whenever I make some opinion or a joke, I always try to back it up with some lore that comes from the source material itself. Here we run into a situation in which there's a lot of people coming in, and we'll talk about Halucha because not Halucha, Sirfetch'd, because Sirfetch'd is the main candidate for this. Sirfetch'd screen time has been very obvious. It's been the training, it's been the trial, training, and triumph arc. And for those of y'all who don't know what that is, it's literally when a Pokemon deals with another Pokemon that's stronger than it or something, and it loses, and then it has to train up to get stronger and then beat said rival Pokemon. In this case, it was Gallade. It was never established that Halucha was Sirfetch'd's rival at all. It just unfortunately happened to be a Pokemon that it ended up losing to in battle. I think if we're counting the World Championships, Sirfetch'd as a Farfetch and a Sirfetch'd is only won against 2 Pokemon in general. That being Gallade and I believe the Girder from earlier. And then the rest of its fights have been losses. But then again, it's only had 2 fights, so it's had a 50% win rate. In the World Championship at least. So when we break that down, you think, well, what other moments are there? Because there sometimes, and you brought up Johto, sometimes there's a lot of different moments that aren't just battling that can show off a Pokemon's character development. And unfortunately, the way Journeys works, they divvy out each and every Pokemon based on what's the focus, that they don't have time to show off these other Pokemon. And thus Sirfetch'd hasn't gotten a real crowning moment before this battle, unless you count the Iris episode where it cut an envelope so that Ash could see what was in the letter. So when I make these statements, or when anyone makes these statements, they're making them in the regards that these Pokemon here are supposed to get not just battle time, but just time to interact with the characters and the other Pokemon themselves. And Journeys has always shown to lack that because it's trying too hard to please everybody. So we have to have these moments where Go catches an abundance amount of Pokemon, and the show decides whether or not it wants to focus on those, or does it want to focus on Koharu randomly, or does it want to focus on Ash's Lucario and Pikachu because those are the only ones that actually have battle moments. But I mean, that's my 2 cents on that. That's pretty much how I've been seeing it as of now.
I mean, that's fair. That's a fair critique,
Yeah.
But one thing we can say,
Hmm.
he cut that envelope really, really well. Surfetch cut that
Exactly.
envelope
I
God.
mean, it was
really,
perfect. Yeah,
really well.
yeah.
There was
If
not a
anything,
single scratch.
that definitely justifies its 40 plus episodes of absence.
Yeah, that envelope was cut. I can't even cut an envelope
And
that night.
he prevented Grookey and Eevee from being run over by a Pelipper. Wow, good duck.
So the winter special trailer came
Oh
out,
no.
and
Uh-oh.
I can't wait for it. See, and I'm not gonna rat today because I know everybody else here is gonna rat for me. So I'm actually happy.
This is
Everyone
why
else
you
is gonna
invited
rat
me and
for me.
Tyrone now, didn't you?
The answer is both yes and no. So the winter special, like I have no strong feelings on it whatsoever. I don't hate it, but I don't love it at the same time. It just feels like, hey, Dawn fans, remember the summertime? Yeah. Well, you get to have that again, but this time with Spider Verse. We have a different Ash, a different Go. We have different Dawn and Koharu. Are they developed characters? Fuck no. This is Journeys.
Yep.
You're- oh my god.
Oh well, you guys have Infernape here. Is it Ashes? No. Is it still gonna get jobbed? Most likely. Why is it gonna get jobbed? So Lucario can look good.
We can only have one fighting type looking good at a time.
Yeah, legit. This is Pokemon Journeys, not Diamond and Pearl, where fighting types are everywhere. But yeah, I have no strong thoughts on this. I'm not super excited, but the animation looks pretty good. It looks nice. So, who wants to go
Yeah,
next?
I could
maybe
go.
I. Okay, Salami, you go first.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. I mean, Dawn's coming back, Cynthia's coming back. Hey, I'm not complaining. That'll just be awesome. Hopefully they do it good, because Cynthia, in my opinion, got done dirty last time. Dawn was all right, but I'm pretty excited to have them return. And Dialga Palkia, that looks sick. And my one worry is the whole multiverse, whatever the heck. I don't know how that's going to end up, and I'm kind of nervous about that. But hey, I'll keep an open mind,
Utopia.
I guess. But knowing Journeys, I don't know. But yeah, that's all I really got to say. I'm just hype, I guess. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, so may I go now?
Yeah, knock yourself out,
Sure.
buddy.
Yeah, so I'm personally kind of hyped. Like that's basically the thing which is preventing me from dropping Journeys altogether. I have made a tweet how I might do it after watching the special. Um, so I made a tweet the other day saying how the main anime doesn't really focus as much on the multiverse concept, and the farthest we have gotten is like the the Zera Ora universe where the Pokemon school and everyone in Alola is eaten by Guzzlord, and the one in the mirror one where everyone have basically split personalities. But other than that, we really haven't really gotten anything related to it. So it's I think they maybe have seen my tweet or something, but it surprisingly happened rather quickly after I made one. So like it depends that with what they are going to do with these characters. That uh, are these basically just Ash and the rest of everyone? Do they like what do they have different with the main cast? The original one in the split personality universe was simple that they have split personality and that was just it. Here, like they just seems to have different color and like different colored outfits and just nothing else seems that much interesting. So I'm just hoping that I'm wrong and they do have something different. Like one thing which does seem already different is how that AU Ash has an Infernape with him. So maybe he has a bit of different story that maybe he settled in Sinnoh or something. So if that's done well, I'm happy. If that's not, I'm like, it's journeys. Um, the next thing which I did like was how they just made everyone a shrink, which is probably I mean not shrink but a DH, which is probably a BDSP GB reference. And Pikachu actually became a Pichu now, and all the other Pokemon turned into eggs. I am hoping that we finally get at least one glimpse of Raboot and Riolu. A Sobel can go away from my eyes as far as it can. I don't care. Um, for for the rest of the special, I like the animation. Having more of Dawn and Cynthia is always nice. But I'm just a bit worried that since it is just 2 episodes, they might, as we all know, screw up things by making everything feel either very slow or very rushed, which is probably going to be very rushed considering what we have seen. Um, so and then we have probably this Team Rocket of another world who is actually competent. BW flashbacks. Then we have Team Rocket's Meow actually throwing hands on Cynthia's Garchomp. That is something I had never thought of seeing before. But hey, we had that power of love Meowth back in Diamond and Pearl, so it is not really a surprise. And yeah, honestly, I have a pretty brief idea of what it is going to be, and I am kind of hyped, but not all that much. So yeah, that more or less sums up my thoughts.
With this special, first of all, it's the exact same thing that they did when Dawn came the first time. It's clear that they're just sort of just promoting Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. At this point, the game will have already been out with some weeks under its belt. I'm pretty sure this will probably be the last time we see Dawn for a bit afterwards. Because at this point, like, either that or unless they want to keep promoting the games. I think it's just dangerously obvious that that's what their intentions are, is just to show off the Diamond and Pearl stuff. It was already tackled earlier. This is only 2 episodes long. That's not nearly enough to cover anything interesting about this. There'll be some concepts that they play with, but it's gonna be briefly grazed over. We already did this. Like, we already had this situation during the Darkrai and Cresselia stuff. Honestly, it's literally a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me situation. Whereas with me, I kind of already knew that the payoff wasn't going to be good. And people then looked surprised when Dawn was completely not anywhere near as competent as she used to be. Hence being beaten by a random Rhyhorn. Rhydon, I'm sorry. And then outside of that, only using Piplup as if she doesn't have any other Pokemon. Like, these are all things that people keep getting hit with and looking surprised when they actually do happen. And it's like, there's no way I can be excited to see this again. When the first time I wasn't excited to see it the first time, only because I knew it was going to be a letdown. And lo and behold, here we are, a letdown. As far as the alternate dimension thing, it's very clear the reason that there's 2 of the same cast members is because Palkia controls space, so alternate universes, while Dialga's controlling time, so he's reversing time, and thus Ash and the others are going backwards, hence the Pikachu to Pichu thing. Nothing's really going to come out of that either, mostly because that means they can't really use their Pokemon, because they'll all be, aged down. So there's not really much they can do about it. It's going to be one of those weird movie situations where the main characters just sort of run around while the legendaries beat the shit out of each other until the resolution or the plot MacGuffin is in front of them, necessary for them to fix everything.
Which is
So it's
Garantino.
Yeah, so it's gonna just wind up being one of those situations where they have to basically run to where the plot is so that the plot can resolve itself. And I'm not invested. I don't care. I'm very indifferent. Some people are saying, oh, because of the way it looks or the animation looks clean. I mean, how many times are we going to fall for this whole situation where, because they did this not so long ago, where they did the previews of like the Mew missions. They did that one preview that showed a bunch of episodes that were coming. And everybody was hyped for those, and look what we got. We didn't get any good payoff for pretty much any of them. I, obviously, it's a trailer's job to get people excited. But, I don't know. 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 I don't but I've already been hit with this so many times. There's no way you can get me physically excited for something I know is going to be half-assed. Like, they've already done this twice with Dawn, at least. Because honestly, I don't even hear people talk about Dawn's first appearance in Journeys. They brought it up before she got there. They kept showing her off during Twitter the whole time before her episode happened. Then her episode happened. We had like a couple of screenshots that people shared on Twitter and saying, "Oh, I'm glad Dawn's here." And then after that, the episode ended and nobody talked about her ever again. She sort of disappeared into obscurity. That's because she didn't make a big enough impact for people to keep her going for that long, because the show didn't give her anything to keep going. That's like the entire premise of Dawn coming back was supposed to get people excited for her, which frankly to me is disingenuous towards Journeys itself, because Journeys has this big problem where if we can't rely on new characters that we brought to the show in order to pull in our audience, then we're going to yank an old character from a previous series to get people back invested again. It's almost like a toxic relationship. Why even go through the trouble of introducing Koharu, Go, Professor Sakuragi, B, and freaking Leon if you're not going to utilize the characters effectively enough for me to care about them? And then they look surprised when the older characters come back and they're nowhere near as good because you've used them to like less than 10% of their capacity because they're not in the show that they originally came from. Well, woe and behold, they're not from their source material anymore. So you're not going to see them as long, which means you're only getting a small sample of what they used to be.
Dawn, she's not a character in this. She's just a plot instigator. She's just here to make the plot happen. Why? Because her people have got kidnapped. And that's why Koharu is joining the fray. It's not organic. She's not going out of her own volition. She's just going because, Dawn called for help. So, what's the stakes in this? Because we saw, we got the trailer, right? We got the trailer 12 years after the first episode of Team Galactic arc. So, points to that? Question mark. The plot of time turning back. Japan actually turned back time in the savings also this weekend. So they kind of like to joke about that. But then again, good animation doesn't save from bad writing, and neither do details and references. I just want to make that perfectly clear. The thing with the multiverse, it's more interesting in concept than in execution, because you know for a fact that this being 2 episodes, it's going to leave more questions than answers. Haruhi was a great example of what Koharu should have been, and now we're going to see 4 doppelgangers of the main cast, and we are going to wonder, what are they like? Are they better? Are they worse? We don't know. They don't care. Whatever. Like, I'm actually, people are saying, "Oh, Dawn this, Dawn that," and I'm actually doing a jab joke on the matter. Like, I want for this Dawn, just for the sake of it, I want for this Dawn to have Typhlosion, Lopunny, and Ambipom. I want for the Infernape to be the other Ashes. I want for Chloe to have a Bolt Hunt, just for the sake of it. The Dialga Palkia and even Ghosts in the race in this reality, they should be shinies, like Tapu Koko in the Guzzlord world. This Team Rocket being competent, they have the suits of armor to prevent them from de-aging. That's, kind of the situation. But then again, it's just interesting, because we know for a fact that even if we see Ash with Dragonair and Haunter and Reboot and Sobble or even Scorbunny, like we have all the 3 starters in one moment, it's just going to be for thumbnail value. It's just going to be for screenshot galore and nothing else. Why? Because the status quo is a thing.
You're doing Samurai's job for him.
To me, and I'm gonna butt in for a second here. To me, it's just sad. Like, when I look at this and I see every time that I see anyone bring up Journeys, it's never about, oh, I hope Koharu's character will get some development, or I hope she'll catch some new Pokemon, or something like that, or oh, I hope Go battle some trainers more often, or gets better as a trainer. No, it's none of that. It's always, I hope this character comes back, and then a screenshot from a character from some other series, or a screenshot of a Pokemon from some other series. The reason, let me ask an important question here. Why is it that we always praise these Pokemon and characters from these older series? Where do you think they got that? Where do you think they got that reputation from? Think they got it from another series, or the series that they originated from?
Another series.
Exactly. Like, we didn't know about Sceptile until AG. We didn't know about Greninja until XY. We didn't know about these characters until the show decided to put them in, give them a character, give them development, and make them justifiable as mons that we would want to see later on, so that the payoff is when we do see them later on, they can then either A, add something that can help that specific character, or B, use that as an element to help the overarching character. For example, Sceptile was brought back in Diamond and Pearl and beat Darkrai, which helped Ash out because it made Ash one step closer than any of the other trainers in the league to fight Tobias when fighting Tobias. But Sceptile's character in and of itself was already justified during its many battles in AG against like the Hoenn League and the Battle Frontier. If we didn't get those moments, it would just be some random Sceptile that fought Darkrai.
Yeah, pretty much.
So when we sit here and keep hoping and hoping and hoping for characters to come back, the more we do that as a community, the weaker we keep making journeys. Because it's almost like saying, I don't want to see the new series. I want to see my old series appear in the new series. Which is nowhere near as enjoyable. XY didn't have any continuity. Yeah, because it was telling its own story. It didn't need it. It didn't need it because it was too busy establishing its own characters. We sit and we want these characters to come back so badly so that we can relive a time in which they actually did do something to contribute to the story. Here, we just want regurgitated moments brought back to the forefront so that we can say, yeah, it was good to see this again. But that hurts the already established story that's supposed to be happening. Journeys very well had good potential going on here with the World Championships and the Go's Mew missions and catching every Pokemon and Koharu's like slow like development towards leaning towards liking Pokemon more and understanding them more. You had 3 solid characters and you had some pretty good introductory characters. B, to give Ash a legitimate rival. You have Leon and Raihan introduced into the series as well. And even Sonia and Magnolia, but they haven't even touched Sonia and Magnolia since the whole Zamazenta and Zacian arc.
It's been a year.
It's been one whole year. We're almost 90 episodes into this show, and it feels like I barely know anything about journeys. I know enough about the Kanto region. I know more than enough about Cynthia because I've been introduced to her a bunch of times. I know enough about Dawn to last me forever because she was in Best Wishes and she was in Journeys, and they barely did anything with her in freaking Journeys.
This is why I continue to say that what was it? Character return is so intrinsic. It's so intrinsic in the people's lexicon, but character debut isn't. How many times do you see people, praying for Dawn to be there? And what about Nessa? Or
Let me get something clear. Let me clarify something real fast here, Koro. I don't want characters to not return in Journeys. I want to make that perfectly clear. It's not that I don't want characters to return in Journeys, period. I don't want the community and the series itself to rely on returns. When you rely on returns, that means that you're not doing well as a series.
Yeah.
When your biggest hyped moment is Cynthia coming back because the series can't hold its own, that means you're doing a bad job writing.
And also the timing and the circumstances of the return. Because Dawn, she should return for contests, not for this. The only return that I can see that it's good for the character until the very end, it's Cyrus's. But she lost. I mean,
Like
she
I don't
didn't.
know.
I mean, she didn't lost. She allowed Ash to win. That's different.
Like I don't know.
That's
Like
bullshit.
with Iris's return, it was cool to see her being a champion. But like all of that, it by the end of the day, it feels everything was on paper because when she did battle Ash, Ash managed to beat her at her own game by using dragons only, two which were not even trained for that much. Like Dracovish knew only water gun in the previous episode. So I don't know if you can really call her a good return.
No, no,
But
no.
yeah,
No, I'm
but
not.
yeah, it did contribute towards
I'm
Iris's
telling you about,
growth. You can say
like
that.
I'm telling you about, the character, like just the character, not the circumstances
Oh
afterward.
yeah, the character
Yeah.
got
Mm.
benefited by that. Yes, that I
Yeah.
can agree.
Then again, anything would have been better than what she got in Best Wishes. That's not exactly a hard thing.
Yeah, we
I
skipped a
mean, we
lot
can
over.
no, I can even argue in Best Wishes they did a better job with her there than in Journeys. In Best Wishes, they to the very least, Dawn was able to talk to Iris about, hey, your Pokemon's not listening to you. My Mammoth went through the exact same thing. Like, you could see that there's a level of interaction, communication, and understanding between characters here. Whereas Dawn's philosophy in Journeys was just don't worry about stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Dawn? Like, this isn't even your character. This is literally just like, if we had to pin it down, this would be the first, it'd be Diamond and Pearl Part 1 of Dawn, not
Yeah.
what she's been through. It's almost like they took the first few episodes of Dawn and used that as her like base.
Yeah,
Tyrone, I think that's exactly what they did.
it's not a character. It's just a template. That's what they did with Iris. She returned as a champion because that's what the next game header had been.
Right.
So
Like
And
my
again,
my biggest issue with Iris was when they brought her back, it didn't have anything to do with her, because I would have preferred her be a gym leader in this situation. Yes, it's a lower ranking than a champion, but Best Wishes already showed off that was this
Yeah.
Iris's goal.
yeah, she was going to succeed Drayden
And
because
then
Drayden. Yeah,
obviously, yeah, she would be a dragon master, but that was her overall goal. But the show bumped her to champion, and it's weird because she never showed an interest in being a champion in the series. So now we have to have Drayden do this whole like really fast exposition while Ash was gone. She rapidly became the
yeah.
champion and did all this amazing stuff off screen. Like,
It's another tell don't show. Yeah,
yeah, and it just doesn't feel right. I will say they got her correctly in terms of communicating with dragons, but then her payoff was that her battle sucks because she got her
yeah,
ass whooped by Pokemon that Ash just got.
yeah,
like I remember when this it was around the same time people said, "Oh yeah, I want Cynthia to return in Battle Ash," and I was like, "You do realize what's gonna happen? It's not gonna be the Infernape Garchomp battle you think it is. It's gonna be Dragonite. Dragonite gets really, really, really mad, and then Dragonite pulls either a new move out of its ass or wins through sheer
Oh,
bullshit and plot."
yeah. Because like, and you know what hurts the most? Like, with now with the one gimmick per battle only. Pikachu used Z move, win. Lucario's Mega Evolution, win. So next time it's Gengar with Gigantamax, and he will win just because of the Gigantamax, not by himself. This is why
Yeah.
this, and then in the end of the day, is the training in the Isle of Armor or in the Crown Tundra, if it happens, really needed? Nah, at this point, just have peers or someone who doesn't like gimmicks to whoop Ash's ass. Kid, if you rely on gimmicks and only in a team of 6, you don't even deserve to be in the Masters 8.
Yeah, unlike Tobias.
Oh my god, not this again. Not
What
this again.
Tobias honestly deserves to be in the Masters 8.
Dude, I continue to say,
yeah.
Surfetch learning the tech felt more earned than Lucario getting Mega Evolution. And we don't even see the tech in this episode. But Mega Stone just poofs from the air.
Yeah, pretty
That
much.
was I don't know what they were trying to do with it because like Sun Moon did not have the Mega Stones appear on the body, but they did when the Mega Evolution was happening. So they could have just did the same thing. Lucario has, of course, the perfect excuse that it has hidden it under his fur. So I don't know why didn't they do it.
Simple, because nobody would
Lazy.
care. They just didn't care.
The laziness.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
it's
the main
laziness.
gimmick, so it doesn't really matter. Because in X and Y, if you noticed, I like how each Pokemon has a unique place to put their Mega Stones. Some Pokemon have a fancy handkerchief, like Sceptile. In Charizard, you have a nice, I don't know what you call that thing, brace thing. Uh, each Pokemon has a unique place to put it because that's the main gimmick. You want to show it off. But considering that they don't even show off the main gimmick of Generation 8, they really don't care what Mega Evolution's represented by. If it's not in the model sheet, they don't have to draw it, which means they don't have to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, which again feels weird because all they needed to do was just give Lucario another Megastone holder similar to the one Corina had, except with a different color like blue or green. Like it was not really all that tough.
Nah, realistically, they should have given him like a French cravat or like a scarf like he has in
Yeah,
the cafe remix.
I'm always willing to believe a moment in any anime, not just Pokemon, where like
Yeah.
the main character is gonna get its ass whooped, and normally he would get knocked out, he or she would get knocked out, and they would get back up and vow to win or whatever, and then they do some cool anime shit and win. Like that's a common trope that happens in a very
Yeah.
intense battles to get you fully invested and to teach the moralistic view to the younger audience to never give up no matter how things are, blah, blah, blah. But there's only so many times in one fight where you can suspend my disbelief to the point where I'm no longer invested. It's almost like telling a joke. If you tell a joke and it's funny the first time, that's great. But if you tell the same joke 4 times in a row, then it's no longer funny.
Pokemon Journey PWC battles. We tell
And
the
right
same.
now, this joke of Lucario getting his shit kicked in and then getting back up just because isn't funny anymore. I made the comparison a while ago where Lucario's been paralyzed like 2 times in this series, if you guys have watched. The first time was
Yeah.
when Volkner
against
paralyzed
Volcano
him. Yeah, when he fought Volkner. The second time was
and
the
then against
Alakazam
Lincoln.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And in both times, Lucario just shrugs off the paralyzation and then moves forward with the fight. Meanwhile, you've got shows like X and Y. Yeah, I'm bringing up X and Y again. Meanwhile, you got shows like X and Y where Gudra got poisoned. Well, you think in your head, okay, Gudra can just fight through the paralyzation, right? And no, Ash tells Gudra specifically to use Rain Dance because Gudra has the ability hydration, so he can cure his own paralysis if that does happen. It's a smart move, and it's believable because if Ash continued to fight with Gudra in paralyzation state, it would get his 2 front teeth kicked in. Why did he do that, though? Why did he tell him to use hydration? If we're following Journey's logic, Gudra should just be able to keep fighting without having to worry about paralyzation. Oh, wait, it's because the show actually knows what the fuck it's doing, and it's writing a narrative reason that makes us, the audience, believe that the hardship that they were going through, them being paralyzed, got cured by an in-game mechanic, or not even an in-game mechanic, a mechanic that's used in the show that they're promoting that's also in the game. Here, Lucario just shakes it off, as if being paralyzed doesn't do anything, when in reality, it should be stopping his movements.
Yeah.
So it just feels like the show is going out of its way to be convenient for the main character. And again, main characters do get privileges. It's where the term comes from. The term has existed hell long even before Pokemon has existed. That's not the issue. The issue is how many times are you going to use that excuse before you start just going, wait a minute. This is just disingenuous to the writing that's taking place in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's Journeys.
It's one sided. Like it goes beyond the believability of the battle itself.
Well, the problem is that the exact same thing is flipped on its ass, and the community will throw a fit when these things go into the antagonist's favor. Tobias has 2 legendary Pokemon. That's bull. Snivy can beat Pikachu. That's bull. Ash won a one-sided ass fight against Volkner. Well, that's anime logic. Like, what?
I mean, I don't think it's I don't think it's bullshit bias at two legendaries. I thought it was completely earned and deserved.
I mean, no, it's very obvious that it is. But that's the exact same thing I'm talking about, is because it was against Ash, it's suddenly it's a big problem. It's a huge problem. But when it's in the favor of Ash to do these ridiculous ass things that he's been getting screwed over with for years, suddenly it's no problem. Why? Because it boils down to two important factors. Greninja losing against Charizard in the Kalos League, and Ash winning in the Alola League. These two events have triggered a situation in which neither can go backwards from themselves. Ash can't afford to lose to a trainer now, so they have to take desperate measures to make sure that Ash wins important battles. Ash can't afford to, and then also Ash can't afford to lose any fights, regardless of how powerful the opponents are, so they have to pull shit out of their ass immediately. And because he won the Alola League, he can't go backwards anymore. So we run into this situation in which he has to win. And if he does lose, it's because one of his Pokemon lost, because it's one of his newer ones, and it has to go through a training arc to prove itself. They proved this a lot recently. When Farfetch lost against Gallade the first time, they made sure that it wasn't an official Pokemon World Championship match. You want to know why? Because if it was, his rank would have went down.
All
Then
I can
they went
say,
and did this again with B. Before that, they did this again with B. But when they did it with B, they did it with Riolu, and it was when Ash was still in a very low class. He had made it to, like, I think super class or whatever. So they yeeted him back to normal class, but he had to jump back to super class once he made it back. They did it because it was one of the lower classes. But now we're in a higher class and he can't afford to backtrack anymore.
Yeah, because losing to B, it devalued Corina. If you lose to Voltner, it would devalue Iris. That's why. And B, you know, in the games, gym leader, but gym leaders in Galar are at the level of the Elite Four. So Ash being the champion of Alola, the first champion, it's also Elite Four, because in the games, Kukui reached lands. So
What happens when you follow, and this is exactly what I was hoping Pokemon was avoiding for years, was linear progression. Because the problem with shonen anime and linear progression is that you can't afford to go back. I use this example a lot, but if you have Goku fight a god, he can't go back and fight a couple of bandits next arc. Nobody's gonna give a shit. Yeah, nobody's gonna give a shit. So what they have to do is that they have to make the next thing bigger than the last. The problem though is that the more you do that, the more narrow and narrow and narrow your corridor gets as to what freedoms you have to go off of. You don't have to establish that this ranked trainer needs to be the strongest. There's no rule that states that this trainer, because he's this ranked, needs to be at least an Elite Four or a champion. The show made that up so that we can justify characters being as strong as they are for the recommended fights that Ash needs to be in.
yeah,
When
that's why the master class it's Raihan and 3 champions.
when you're world building a shonen, the worst thing you can do is say, this is the only character that does this thing, and no other character can do this thing, and if they do this thing, then there's a thing stronger than it, but only in rare situations, and they're only this many amount. Because you want to know what you're doing? You're limiting your world. A potentially universally large, infinite world, and you've narrowed it down to 8 people.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Super, what are you doing?
I never liked how the master, like, first and foremost, I never liked how the master class is just 8 people. Secondly, I never liked the ranking system. It should be point based, like the Battle Chateau and X and Y games, of course. And then we also reached a situation that you actually talked about in the Voltner Pokepod and even in your recent video. Realistically, Voltner could have, have Electivire's tail on the ground to, debride the electricity of the Z move. Because if Paul can use the same thing to damage Gliscor with the rock debris, why can't Voltner do that, but instead of to attack, it's to defend, right? So are you telling me that Voltner is like, are you downplaying Voltner? I don't know, man. It's just fucking weird.
All right. Okay. So I
Yeah,
think that is everything.
Yeah.
yeah. The more we stay, the more it's going to hurt our heads.
Because usually we would cover topics, but every other original member left except me because they live in different time zones.
Mm.
So,
Understandable.
not to mention, nothing happened this week except Eternals releasing, so we don't have anything other topics to cover this week.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right, okay, so I think I can end the podcast. So yeah, everybody, this has been the Masters 8 podcast. So would you guys like to give your outros and plug your stuff?
Okay, so KuroBlitz96 on
Oh.
Twitter and KuroBlitz on YouTube.
Okay, so Tyrone TG3 on YouTube. You can follow me. I just made a video recently. And then on Twitch, it's Tyrone_TG3. And then if you want, you can follow me on Twitter with the shenanigans I got over there. That'll be Tyrone TG3 as well. Both Twitter and YouTube have the exact same username. So you can follow me on those as well.
That's because nobody else chooses a name like Tyrone the God 3. That
Yep.
The God 1 and the God 2, they are already.
I picked it 10 years ago. Yep. And I just stuck with it.
Yeah, this has been the Masters 8 podcast, everybody. I'll catch you guys next time.